There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Thomas Tuchel is one of the best coaches in the world right now, and in a few years' time, he might even be one of the greatest of all time. The German tactician guided Chelsea to their second Champions League trophy only a few months after being appointed at Stamford Bridge. This was an extraordinary experience given the circumstances. The former Mainz boss inherited a different caliber of players who were short on confidence and turned them into European champions. Tuchel might end up winning a lot of trophies in the coming years, but what he achieved with the Blues earlier this year is nothing short of extraordinary. It needed something special for Chelsea to go all the way in Europe last season, and that's exactly what the 47-year-old is. He's truly special. Yep, that's right. Today our entire episode is going to focus on a manager who defied the odds and made Chelsea into one of the most fearsome teams in all of Europe. Of course, he's not there yet, but the manner in which he's gone about his job makes Tuchel as the next great manager who's likely to win a lot of trophies in the coming years. Before we do that, make sure to subscribe to our channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon in order to stay informed on all things football. Even as a teenager, Thomas Tuchel showed great tactical acumen. His former teacher at the Simpert Kramer High School says that unlike most of the players of his age, Tuchel displayed certain characteristics that would earmark him for a great future in football management. After helping his team win the German Schools Championship in Berlin in 1987, he joined TSV Krumbach, for whom he put on stellar displays before earning a move to FC Augsburg in 1988. Tuchel played as a defender, a slow but intelligent one. However, he was released by the club in 1992 and joined Stuttgart Kickers, for whom he struggled a lot. A couple of years later, Tuchel joined SSV Ulm, where everything changed for him. Ulm hired Ralf Rangnick as their manager. Considered by many as the father of modern German football, the wily tactician introduced Tuchel to positional play. While a chronic knee injury forced him to retire at the age of 25, he'd already been enticed into entering the world of football management. His former coaches and colleagues described Tuchel as a footballaholic, with Christian Heidel, his sporting director at Mainz, saying that Tuchel demands perfection at all levels. Every training has to be perfect. He plays the game in his head beforehand. He needs everything to go according to plan, especially tactical discipline, where the players are standing, where they have to go. This makes it very hard to play against teams coached by Thomas. After honing his craft in various age groups, Tuchel showed just how important relationship building is in football. During his time as the manager of Stuttgart under-19s, Tuchel built close relationships with and between players. Former German international Andreas Beck says that under Tuchel, the bond was more akin to that of a brotherhood. The likes of Mario Gomez, Sami Khedira, and Adam Szalai benefited a lot from it. While Tuchel did lead Stuttgart to the under-19 league title in 2005, his personality was not easy to handle, which was why the club decided not to renew his contract. This opened the door for a return to Augsburg, where he struggled as a player. During his time there, Tuchel took a keen interest in sports medicine, physiology, and psychology. Tuchel was fast-tracked into becoming the first team coach of Augsburg 2, where he introduced an engaging brand of football. However, he was frustrated there, since there was a clear gap between his ideas and the quality of players at his disposal. In 2008, he moved to Mainz, where he would eventually become the manager on a 2-year contract at the age of 35. It was a gamble. Mainz had only recently been promoted to the Bundesliga, but Tuchel's impact was instant. Mainz were playing tactically flexible yet organised football, and it wasn't stale at all. Mainz always put out a different brand on football depending on the opponent. Tuchel was the innovator. Mainz were never seen as an entertaining side, but under him, they even beat Bayern Munich on their own turf. The team was punching above its weight and qualified for the Europa League in 2011. Under Pep Guardiola, Bayern Munich were a fearsome side. However, Mainz was one of the very few teams that were capable of disrupting the Bavarians. Now, there are always certain moments that define a manager's career. It could be a sacking, or a win or a defeat that serves as a watershed moment. For Tuchel, leaving Mainz for a sabbatical was what changed everything. During this time, he grew close to Guardiola, and the two famously had a very intense tactical chat over dinner. During this time, the two men became really great friends. This was the break Tuchel needed to recharge and further refine his tactical understanding of the game. Following Jurgen Klopp's departure in 2015, Tuchel became the manager of Borussia Dortmund, his first big club move. During this time, BVB played great football, and Guardiola was made to work hard for his last Bundesliga title before he left to join Manchester City. With Pep gone, it was widely thought that Dortmund would end Bayern's relentless grip on German football. Unfortunately, it wasn't that simple. Tuchel did not like the club's inability to keep their best players, and the vocal tactician let his frustrations get the better of him. Following a DFB Pokal final win over Wolfsburg, Hans-Joachim Watzke called Tuchel a difficult person to deal with. The writing was on the wall. Tuchel's time at Dortmund was up. A move to Bayern Munich was rumoured, but he turned them down in order to move to Paris Saint-Germain. At PSG, Thomas Tuchel had the luxury of relying on the unique talents of Kylian Mbappe and Neymar. He guided the team to multiple honours and became the first manager to guide the club to a Champions League final. They lost that final to Bayern Munich last year, but it was clear that he was getting close to finally helping the club achieve its elusive dream of Champions League glory. After a poor start to the 2020-21 campaign, Tuchel was unceremoniously sacked by the club. He was replaced by Mauricio Pochettino, who'd also done wonders at Tottenham, guiding them to a Champions League final, which they lost to Liverpool. Chelsea, on the other hand, decided to part ways with legendary former player Frank Lampard, who was unable to transform the Blues into a title-winning side. They were just recovering from a messy divorce with Lampard, and the general consensus among fans and pundits was that an FA Cup triumph might help the club salvage something from what was a dismal campaign. His first game saw Chelsea being held to a goalless draw by Wolverhampton Wanderers, but 8 months on, Chelsea are European champions and they're on top of the league standings. They recently thrashed Tottenham 3-0 away from home, and they could even go all the way. Spurs might not be the best gauge of any team's title credentials, but the manner in which the Blues downed the Londoners showed that Tuchel knows what he's doing. Chelsea struggled a little in the first half. Son Heung-min and Sergio Reguilon were venturing further up the pitch with menacing intent. Facing such adversity, most teams could fold. However, the Blues are no ordinary team. The three-man backline boasted two defenders in Andreas Christensen and Antonio Rudiger, who are enjoying something of a resurgence at Stamford Bridge. Thiago Silva is nearly 37, but the Brazilian is showing no signs of slowing down. Even Kepa Arrizabalaga had a great game. The Spaniard's issues at the club are well documented, but it appears that Tuchel knows how to get the best out of his players. By the end of the first half, Tuchel knew that his team was struggling and showed ruthlessness to take off Mason Mount and replace him with N'Golo Kante, whose arrival changed the entire complexion of the game. In the face of resistance, most managers decide to change tactics. However, Tuchel decided to change personnel. The arrival of Kante was exactly what the team needed, and the World Cup winner single-handedly turned the tide, bossing the midfield and bringing the sort of energy that only he can bring. Tottenham were overwhelmed and retreated deeper into their own half. Harry Kane, as a result, was isolated and didn't have much service to work with. Marcos Alonso, another player who rarely got a look in under Lampard, is enjoying a stellar start to the campaign. The Spain international was at his energetic best, while Timo Werner also showed that he still has a future at Stamford Bridge. Now, you must be wondering when we're going to answer whether Tuchel is the best manager on the planet. The fact that he's so easily transformed Chelsea and its forgotten players into a cohesive unit speaks volumes about Tuchel's ability, not just as a tactical genius, but as a great man manager. We all knew that Tuchel was tactically the best out there. However, his man management skills at Chelsea have really come to the fore. Of course, there's still a lot of games left in the current campaign, and Chelsea will face a lot of resistance in their quest to win the Premier League. But as long as they have Tuchel, who manages things depending on opponents and situations, the Blues have every chance of winning the title. A few more trophies, and he'll definitely be considered one of the greats.